Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. So today we have actually a paper handout, which is unusual. You will all, as Karen said, this is being recorded. Everybody will get a copy of the recording, the whole presentation slides, and the handout to share or with your spouse, with your team. For those of you who might not know, the SPED NET website, spednet.org, is a huge batch of all of our presentations and webinars, video recordings, and all of the information that goes with all of the recordings. It's organized by title and by speaker, and it's an incredible wealth of information. If everybody doesn't mind signing in at the back, and there is a handout that's on the right side of the table. So Charlie Del Santo is here to talk about regulation and dysregulation. She has a master's degree in psychology. She's a certified special ed teacher with over 15 years of experience working with neurodiverse learners and has served as head of school for 2 private schools. Charlie is going to talk about herself a little bit before. And as far as questions go, if you can hold them till the end, that would be terrific, because that way we can walk around with a mic and that will be recorded as well. If there's something that you just really need to ask, you can raise your hand, but most of the time Charlie will end up answering the questions that you have by the end of the presentation. So, thank you. Oh, and one more thing. There is a list of our upcoming presentations through February at the back. So please pick one of those up too. This is being co-sponsored by Wilton Youth Council, Easton SPED PTA, Newtown SPED PTA, the library, and Wilton Public Schools. Thanks.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's to make sure I don't walk away from this thing getting carried away, so. All right, so I want everybody to start off, just take a second, close your eyes, whatever feels most comfortable for you, look around, zone out. But a couple different scenarios that might kind of hit home with some of you, which is, your child might be playing at nighttime and you ask them, hey, time to come for dinner, let's go. And you're met with a, no, toys start throwing, it's a mess, you start yelling, everything goes awry. We see that kind of big behavior come out. There might be another scenario where you sit down with your student to start homework at night, and all of a sudden we see the kiddo kind of walking away like, hey, it looks like the dog needs some pets, or I have to go to the bathroom all of a sudden, right? Just so happens right at the start of homework. Or you notice your child is doing their homework by themselves, but they're just kind of sitting there, zoning out, staring at the window, not really getting much done. So those might be some things that kind of hit home with some of you. But if not, take a second to just kind of reflect on what you see as dysregulation within your child. What are some of those behaviors you see? Is it big emotions? Is it more of a zone out? Is it a, I'm out of here? Thinking about that might bring up some dysregulation for you. You might start to feel a little stressed. You're like, this isn't what I signed up for. Let me just pull up my notes, sorry. So you might feel your shoulders tense. You might be walking in here from a morning of fighting to get to school or get things started or get dressed in the morning, eat your breakfast. So we might have all kind of had a morning where we're feeling a little tense walking in here already, and now I'm asking you to imagine some pretty stressful situations. So I want to take a moment to do an exercise. This is something you can do for yourself. This is something you can do with your child. So I want to start off with this kind of in the spirit of regulating before we get into things. So again, you can close your eyes, you can keep your eyes open, whatever feels most comfortable for you. We're gonna start off with a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 reset. So to start off first, we're going to do 5 things. What are 5 things that you see right now? Guess you have to have your eyes open for that one. Open them back up. Just kidding. What are 5 things that you see? Is it my face? Is it the screen? Is it the person's shoulders in front of you? Do they have lint on their jacket? Is their hair curly? Do you see your own hands? Do you see the chair? Are we looking at the light? So take a few seconds to just notice 5 things that you can see right now in this moment. Now we're going to move into 4 things that you can feel or touch. So I notice some of you are holding pens or pencils. Do you feel the grip on the pen or pencil? Are you holding your own hands? Are your hands clammy? Are they dry? Are you twizzling your fingers? What are you feeling in your hands? What are you feeling in your body? Do you feel your shoulders tense? Do you feel yourself holding like this? Do you feel your feet tense? Are your toes clenched? What are you feeling right now? Take a deep breath and try to relax your body of everything that you're feeling in it right now. 3 things that you can hear. One of them might be my voice coming through the microphone. So that might be one. Do you hear the buzzing of the lights or from the microphone? Do you hear your own breath? Take a few minutes to notice 3 things that you can hear. On to 2. 2 things that you can smell. Do you smell your deodorant? Do you smell the person next to you? Hopefully not. What do you smell? And lastly, one thing that you taste. Do you taste coffee that you had this morning? Or gum that you're chewing? All right. So that's one little regulation tool that I like to use, again, in the spirit of let's regulate ourselves before we get into learning. Here we go. So I want to start off first. I'm Charlie Del Santo. I, like Eve said, have my master's in psychology. My undergrad was special education, so I'm certified K through 12 special education teacher. I've been doing this for a long time now, about 15 years in the field. I've been the head of school for 2 different private schools. One of those was for high-performing athletes, and the other was a school all for neurodivergent students. It was K through 8th grade. And so we had really a broad range of kids that came to us. We had ADHD, dyslexia, autism, Down syndrome. We've really kind of had a very inclusive environment. So founded that school. And then I recently founded Always Be. We are in Westport, Connecticut, and I do after-school intervention tutoring, all for neurodivergent kiddos, with a big focus on the social-emotional component and executive functioning skills. So if you can't tell, I'm a firm believer in you have to be regulated and feel safe in order to learn. And that's how I really approach everything that I do. So what we're going to talk about, we're going to start off with what's happening in the body and in the brain when we experience dysregulation. I'm going to walk you through a regulation roadmap a little bit. And we're going to end with a parent toolbox of actionable things that you can use in the moment to kind of pull from your own toolbox. Yeah, move on to the next slide. All right, so regulation. Regulation is you're in that just right mode. You are able to regulate your emotions. You have control over your emotions. You are acting and thinking clearly. Your energy is regulated. I'm going to move this over to where I can actually read it. Your energy is regulated. You can pay attention to what you want to pay attention to. So it's in that just right mode. I feel good. I feel comfortable. Dysregulation is when those emotions get too big or too small. So in some of those examples that I shared earlier, you might have the big outburst, you might have more of the zone out. Dysregulation looks different for everybody, including ourselves as adults. It's an inevitable thing that happens. We all probably experience dysregulation multiple times a day throughout our days. Some of us have learned how to get ourselves back to a regulation state pretty well, and sometimes it's hard. Life happens. Sometimes we freak out, and that is a normal human experience. So these are things that we're going to experience. There's no avoiding them, but there's ways of practicing skills and having tools to hopefully get us back to regulation quicker, and to just experience them, as we do as humans. So the biggest thing we can do is recognize that when we're having the shift from regulation to dysregulation, that'll tell us how are we going to respond to what I'm feeling right now. Same with our children. So I'm noticing this shift. What am I seeing? And this is now how I'm going to respond to that. All right. So what is going on in our brain and body when we become dysregulated or when our child becomes dysregulated? That might be a real or a perceived threat, right? So sometimes we're like, what just happened? I have no idea. All of a sudden, you're having a moment and I don't know what happened. Stuff isn't always super apparent as to what caused dysregulation. It might have been something internally that happened that we can't see or put, a name or a label to. So being aware that threats can be real and they can be perceived, again, same for us. It might be something that we walk in and we just get a ick feeling, and that's going to cause us to feel that dysregulation. So when we have a real or perceived threat, our brain goes from our thinking brain to our survival brain. Our brain is set up to say, danger, 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 what do I need to do to protect myself? That's when we are acting with our emotions. So something that you guys might be familiar with, a man, Dan Eagle, came up with a really cool model of understanding what happens to our brain. So I want everybody to hold your hand up like this, put your thumb across your hand, and then close it like this. So this is a representation of our whole brain. So down here we have our brain stem. That connects to this right here, which is our emotional brain, where our amygdala is. And then this right here is our thinking brain, our prefrontal cortex. When we experience that danger, 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 alarm goes off, this part of our brain, the thinking, which some people might be familiar with, our executive functions, are things that let us plan and regulate and think clearly. All of those thinking brain skills go like this. Alarm, boom, I'm up. And now what is at the front of what we're doing? Our emotional brain. So now we're thinking with our emotions. Our whole goal with regulation is to get this thinking brain back down so that we're in thinking brain mode and not survival mode. When we're in this flipped up is what we like to call it. Our brain flips the cap. When we get into a flipped mode, that's when we see a stress response. And those stress responses are that classic fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses that you might see in some of your children. So those examples that you were thinking of at the beginning of, ooh, what does it look like at night or in the morning when my child is dysregulated or when I'm dysregulated? What does it look like? That's one of these responses. Our brain goes, whoop, danger, I need to protect myself. What am I going to do? I'm going to fight you. I'm going to fight. Stop telling me what to do. Don't want to see what's going to happen if you keep trying. You might go flight. I got to go pet the dog. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm not gonna stay here anymore. Freeze. I'm zoned out. I don't know what this piece of paper in front of me says. Could be gibberish for all I care. Could be German. Don't know how to read it. I'm staring blankly at it. Or that fawn of, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Immediate apologies. You know, I'll fix it. I'll do better next time. Kind of that you're like, doesn't make sense. What are you apologizing for? Nothing happened. That doesn't match. All right, so one really important thing to note here is I listed 4 things. You might be thinking, okay, well, this morning we got in a huge fight, but then they get in the car after school and it's like radio silence. I get nothing. So what's the pattern? There is none. How your child and how you respond to a stressor in your life is going to be different, and it could be different every single time. So that's something that's really important to note, is that I'm using a lot of words. There's fight, flight, freeze. You're like, that's cool. You got a lot of F's up there. The labeling doesn't matter. You don't need to memorize these things. It's not a test. No one's going to come up and be like, what did your child just experience? Don't need to know that. It's recognizing the symptoms of what you're seeing. So it's recognizing, your shoulders just got tight, or whoa, I noticed that your voice just got a little loud. So I say that because you might be thinking, oh, well, if I just know how to respond to a fight, I'll be good. Unfortunately, not the case. It's going to be different every time you or your child gets in a situation where they're experiencing that dysregulation. So I say that as it's normal for kids to respond differently, and it's normal for them to maybe look like they're doing a lot of things at one time. They might be running away and screaming at you as they're going. It looks different every time. So that is a normal thing to have happen. So I put this up here as just yes, there can be common traits of kids with ADHD or anxiety or autism that kind of show up when they experience these stress responses. So for ADHD, you might see kids have a faster emotional incline. Like they might go 0 to 100 real quick, and then it's going to take them a while to come back down from that. Anxiety, you might see hypervigilance. They become super aware of everything that's going on. They might be more likely to avoid or get into that kind of perfectionism mindset. Autism, you might see more of the sensory overload or rigidity kind of come into place. So I say that as, yes, there are things that can be more common, but your neurodivergent diagnosis doesn't dictate how you respond to stress. We're all human and we all respond differently all the time. So I say that again, as in, you don't have to know these things. You don't have to have them memorized. It's going to be noticing in the moment what is going on. All right, so the goal here is to get to a place of calm where learning can happen. And again, we can get from danger, danger, danger back to I'm thinking, I can talk about my emotions, I'm regulated, and I'm ready to learn and talk again. So the goal is calm, and how we are going to get to calm is through a regulation roadmap. So I want to say that regulation happens over a long time. I wish there was one quick fix that I could give you to be like, oh, if you just say this one magic word in the moment, your kid's gonna be like, all right, great, I feel good, ready to go. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. So I say that because this takes practice. It takes doing it over and over and over again for it to even feel normal coming out of your mouth. I remember when I first started doing this with some of my students, I was like, this feels weird. Like this doesn't feel like just a normal conversation. And that's right, it's not. It's I'm letting you borrow my calm so that you can regulate. That means we have to be calm first, which is really hard. So taking that all into consideration, I say like from the get-go, give yourselves a break. This takes time, it takes practice. You have to do it over and over and over for it to not feel like, oh, I'm just a robot kind of a thing. So the goal with this is not to have a memorized script, not to, say the same thing every time. It's that when we're in moments of dysregulation with our child, it's so hard for us to stay regulated too. It can be really triggering. So the goal is not to have a script, it's to have a plan. So this can help you just have, hey, I know in my brain what's happening right now. I know that my next step is this. And it gives you just that little something to hold on to, that I know where I'm going with this. We're going to get through it. It might not be the same. It might not go perfectly, and that is okay. It probably won't, I'll be honest with you. But it's just having that in my brain. I know what my goal is and how I'm getting through this so that I can stay regulated and help now regulate my child or my student or whoever I'm with. So the first thing that we're going to do, it's 3 R's. I tried to keep it kind of fun. So first we're going to recognize, then we're going to co-regulate, and then we're going to recover. So the first step of that is to recognize early cues. So like I said, you might see some physical stuff coming up. I'm noticing your shoulders are tense. I'm noticing your voice just got really loud when you responded to me. I'm noticing you're pacing. You seem a little jittery. I'm noticing you're kind of zoned out. I'm noticing that you're not feeling really here right now. On the behavioral side of things, you might notice like increased irritability. They might get a little more whiny. You're like, hey, what's going on with that? They might start avoiding things. Hey, I gotta go pet the dog. Hey, I noticed you just left what we're doing to go pet the dog. Doesn't seem like what we were doing right now. So noticing some of those things. On the other end of that, they might get overly clingy. They might cling to you in certain situations. Hey, I'm noticing you're standing really close to me. Or I'm noticing that you are asking me if everything's okay. Just notice. Don't have to do anything with that information, but I notice that this is happening for you. On the emotional side, you might see someone get really frustrated. You might see the tears. You might see big overreactions that don't match with what just happened. Big mood swings are normal. Again, the zoning out, overthinking, asking the same question over and over. I feel like I see that quite a lot of just, okay, so who are we going to see? Okay, got it, yeah. Who was that again? Who are we going to see? Those types of things. And then the social, again, you might see clinginess, avoiding going into peer situations. Again, that over-apologizing over and over, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll be fine, so sorry. And you're like, I didn't know anything happened, but okay. So again, just noticing. We don't have to do anything with it, but saying it out loud can help them realize, oh, I didn't notice that my shoulders were tight, or, oh, I didn't even notice that I just yelled at you. And you're like, okay, cool. So then we're gonna get into the co-regulate section. So first we recognize, then what we're gonna do is co-regulate. And again, that's where we're having to take some deep breaths ourselves, regulate our own bodies and our old minds. We might be in this phase. We might have just gotten yelled at and have to be like, I need to take a deep breath and get back into my thinking brain. Because the whole point of co-regulation is that our children are borrowing our calm. If we're not calm, there is nothing for them to borrow. So we have to get to a place of being our own calm self, which can be one of the hardest parts of all of this, is regulating ourselves. So remembering that we have to be calm for them. And the other big part of co-regulation is connecting and not correcting. So again, recognizing things as they come up, but not offering, hey, notice your shoulders are tight. Why don't you take a deep breath? Right off the bat, that's a lot. Like, I didn't even know my shoulders were tight. What do you mean I need to take a deep breath? That would put me on the defensive if someone just came up to me and was like, hey, your face looks weird. Figure that out. I'd be like, okay, not cool. So co-regulating, borrowing calm, and focusing on the connection over the correction. So a few simple ways of co-regulating might be offering closeness. So being close to your child, breathing together, kind of taking in some of those big breaths, validating their feelings. So acknowledging what emotions they're going through, and then being the safe space. So slowing down your speaking, speaking quietly, not matching where they're at, but keeping your safe base kind of as the place they're going to come borrow from. These are a couple of things. There are a million ways to co-regulate, and you're gonna figure it out through trial and error. I can offer ideas, but how everyone needs to borrow during that time is gonna be different. And again, depending on what danger mode they're in, it might look different every time. If they're avoiding, they might need you to step up your energy. You know, if they're in that fight or flight moment, they might need you to step up because they're running. They might need you to kind of come up higher. If they're in the fight, they might need you to back off. So that could be a whole other presentation in itself. But the point is that how you meet them every time is going to look very different. And there's a million strategies, but you kind of just have to try it out and see like, well, that didn't work. Like, you know, and it might work next time. So there could be no rhyme or reason to it. So it's having these tools in your pocket of, okay, I know I can try a deep breath. Let me just sit here and breathe for a second and see if they're able to match that. And again, with practice and doing this over and over again, it'll become more normal for you, and it will also become more normal for your child. The last piece of our roadmap is to recover. So getting back into the problem solving, thinking brain, where our brain is back to this, where we are able to get to a calm place, and now we can talk. So the whole thing together is recognize, co-regulate, recover. So recognize, I recognize your voice just got loud. Co-regulate, you're safe. Let's take a breath together. Recovery. Now that you're calmer, let's brainstorm. What can we do next time? So those are the 3 regulation roadmap phases. So now that we know what those 3 phases are, what do we do with that? Let's talk about some actual tools that you can use during the moment. But that was also a lot of information, so I'm thinking let's just take a little second to regulate our bodies. We might be feeling a little like, okay, you just dumped a lot on me right there, Charlie. Like I'm now stressed thinking about having to try to do this. So, you know, stand up, do what you gotta do. Shake your hands. This is one you can do while seating. This really helps regulate our nervous system, helps get our body going. I call this dry your hands without a towel. Shake it off. Just kind of give yourself the space to regulate. I'm feeling it. Don't know about you guys. Ooh. All right. So, now that we've moved a little bit, let's talk about the before, during, and after. So our before is prevention. So how are we helping children form a foundation of safety and connection before dysregulation happens? So our goal is to have these things that, you know, we're hopefully not getting to the big explosions or the really big, you know, I'm hiding in a corner or a closet, not listening to you, whatever that is. Our goal is to obviously not get to those big places. We're going to, it's gonna happen. But what are things that we can do to maybe stay out of them more often than not? So the first thing I like to talk about here is regulation banking. So I've been kind of on the like fill your cup thing a little bit, so I'm just gonna stick with that. Our cups have to be full in order to be able to pour anything out of them. So how are we filling our cups? How are we filling our children's cups before we get to a place that we're looking to pour out and there's nothing in there to pour out? So I call this the regulation banking. So we're intentionally adding positive connections to our child's emotional bank before we ever reach a point of dysregulation. Again, this is so when if stress rises, if their brain starts to go like this, we can be like, oh, remember how fun that was, or remember blah, blah, blah. And their bodies are going to go from here to, okay, I have something I can pour out and not get to this. I'm getting to here, but I have something that can bring me back down before I totally flip my lid. I have a million of fun regulation banking ideas. These are some of my favorites. If mornings tend to be a tough time in your family, creating a morning playlist together can be a really fun activity going on Spotify or Pandora or whatever you use. And together building, hey, do our mornings need to be more high energy and get cranking? Or does my child tend to kind of fly off in the mornings and we need to have a more calming thing? That can be a really, fun way to kind of build. Let's create a really calm playlist so we know every morning we're going to play the playlist that we built together and you had a big part in that. And what are some of those favorite songs that help you feel really good in the morning? Oh, this one's one of my favorites. This helps me feel really, really good in the morning. So doing that together can be a lot of fun, and then making it a ritual or routine, whatever you want to call it, but something that you do every morning that's predictable. I wake up, I know I get to go turn on the playlist that I created. That one's really fun. A cozy corner, so that can be kind of like a sensory space, but a space that, again, you create together. Let them tell you what they want in it. Do they want big pillows? Do they want a beanbag? Do they want just blankets? Do they want it to have a teepee? What feels best to them when they need a space to just decompress? And so this, again, could be in the morning. Hey, every morning we're going to meet in the cozy corner and just talk about what's coming up today or whatever. Or this could be a right after school thing. If right after school tends to be tough, maybe it's, hey, every day right after school, we grab a snack, we go in the cozy corner and we yap, or we listen to music, or we just sit there together and just have a quiet moment together. That can be just as powerful. So having a cozy corner that they partake in creating is really, really important. A walk and talk. This is exactly what it sounds like, going for a walk and talking. A really important thing in a walk and talk is to never offer correction. It's just to notice what's going on around you and help get to a present moment. So I think it can be really hard in those times because you're like, I want to know what happened at school. Like, what's happening with your friend? What's the gossip? What's the hot tea? Tell me everything. And they're not in the place to do that. So again, morning, afternoon, whenever this could be a really good time. Get outside, move your body. And what am I noticing? Oh, I noticed that the leaves are changing colors. What colors do you see? Or, wow, that tree's so different than that tree. What are the differences in the leaves or the bark that you're seeing? What do you notice on the ground this morning? Do we see anything weird? That type of conversation can help us get back to a place of regulation if we're in a heightened state of just getting grounded in where we are. You could do it around your house. If it's gross outside, you don't want to go outside, it's too cold, whatever, walk around your house. What are you noticing around the house? Maybe change something. Hey, I changed something in the kitchen this morning. Let's go figure out what it is. That can be a walk and talk too. The Smile File project, I really love this one. It can be really good in moments of kind of heightened dysregulation. But creating a smile file, so putting together pictures that make us happy. It could be pictures of myself doing silly selfies. It could be pictures of my family, of my dog, of just things that make me happy. Minecraft pictures. It could be anything that your child really feels passionate about that makes them happy. And let's look through that together. Again, this could be morning, afternoon. It could be something they take with them, so that during the day they can look through things just to kind of get that bucket full. And then my last one on here, again, I have a million if you need ideas, but inside joke of the week. So coming up with a silly saying or something at the beginning of the week on like a Sunday that then you guys kind of use as the joke of the week. So it could be like they come in the morning and you're like, fling flong. And they're like, fling flong. So just having something that kind of, again, silly, it could be serious, it could be whatever kind of floats the boat of you and your child. But having just something silly that you can kind of connect with over it any time, could come out at any moment. We love the element of surprise. All right, so some more before prevention strategies. For a lot of students, their idea of feeling secure is knowing what is going to come up. So having consistent routines. It doesn't have to be for your whole day. It could be, I have 2 really consistent routines that this is what I know my morning looks like and this is what I know my afternoon looks like. It might change during the day. And that's where visual supports can come into place. But I know that part of my routine is going through what my day is going to look like. So if there is change, yes, stuff change. We need to be able to adapt to that. But having those visual supports of, hey, this is normally what we do here, but today it's going to be different. Let's see what that looks like. Those kind of go hand in hand. And then movement breaks can be really good. So like we've been doing throughout this, how do we get our bodies moving as something so by the end of this, you're not all like, that was great, that was awesome. You're like, no, I was able to kind of move throughout that. I remember the regulation roadmap was to recognize, regulate, recover. I know I get some strategies, so I'm feeling good. I didn't just stay still that whole time and zone out at a presentation. And then lastly, with this, another really, I'll say maybe obvious, but I won't use that word, but I did. Component of this is sleep, eating. What are those basic human needs that we need? So I give you all of these as these can be controllables. These are things that you can do no matter what those situations are, because you cannot control how your child sleeps at night. A lot of times we can't control what they're putting in their bodies, how much breakfast they ate, as much as we want to be like, just one more bite. They don't know that that's not going to help them later, not eating. So those are things we simply cannot control. And so having things that we really can control, consistent routines, visual supports, movement breaks, things that we can do to fill their regulation banks before dysregulation happens. Pick your controllables. Pick your controllables, because the variables are not controllable as much as we would like them to be. 7 to 7. All right, so a few key takeaways for the before section. Predictability reduces stress, so having those consistent routines helps children feel safe and supported. Connection builds resilience, so if it's in the morning, if it's after school, if it's at bedtime, when you get home from work, whenever that is, having those connections builds resilience. Filling up their regulation bank, so build up calm and coping strategies before we get to a place of dysregulation, will be really helpful. And again, this is something like you have to fill your own tank too. So making sure, I'm trying not to make this too much about us, because this could be a whole other presentation, is how to take care of yourself too. But I just find it really important to note, like, you have to have a full regulation tank too in order to help someone else fill theirs. So make sure you're taking care of yourself, eating, sleeping, hydrating, drinking water, getting your nails done, going for a run, working out, whatever. Make sure you're doing things to take care of yourself as well. And then obviously, as much as you can, preparing your body and mind. So making sure you're getting enough sleep, making sure, as best as you can, your child is getting enough sleep, getting enough movement, sensory breaks will really help us set the stage for the regulation. All right, so during co-regulation, this is where we are letting our children or child, who we're working with, whoever, grandchildren, whatever that is, helping them stabilize and feel safe in the moment. So we are acting as an anchor for our children while they are getting their nervous systems, flipped lid, back to thinking brain. So a few in the moment tools that I like, again, I'm putting 3 up here as examples. I have a million. You can probably look up a million different ones to have. I think it's nice to kind of keep 3 in your brain for, okay, that didn't work, let me try this. That didn't work, let me try this. Having some things so you're not trying to think on your feet during those moments of what do I do, what do I do? Having a couple things, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try these 3 things and see how that goes. Tactile anchors. These could be sensory items that you just carry around. It could be a small Ziploc bag, whatever. It could be squishies. It could be fabric that has different textures on it. It could be a fidget that your child likes to play with. Textured balls, things that they can bounce or slam or whatever that is. Having a small little bag of tactile anchors can be really helpful in the moment. Just handing it off. Just no words. Just there you go. You might actually start off before you hand it. You might sit there yourself, play with it. I'm noticing your voice is getting loud. This is a good one for when you're out in public too. Like if you're out somewhere, being able to just reach into your bag and just taking a sec. Let's stop moving. And you might just sit there and play with something. You might take a ball and bounce it. They might reach out, grab it themselves. You might say, "This feels really weird. Do you want to feel it?" That's it. Follow my lead, a movement game. So if you notice that they're having some big stuff or some small stuff, again, depending on the child you're with, doing some copycat moves. So, hey, can you do this move? Can you do this move? Can you do this? So little things like that, you might just silently start doing it. You might silently start doing weird little things with your hands or stomping. Shimmying, dry your hands without a towel, little things you can start doing with your body that they can mirror and mimic that will get them out of that heightened state. And then another thing is guided counting or object sorting. So again, if you're at a place, you might have little objects you can bring out. If you're at home or they're at school or whatever, they might have a thing. They can just get out and they know what they're doing with that. You might start modeling it. I'm going to take this out and I'm just going to start organizing these things, or I'm going to start counting them down from 10, 10, 9. I'm just going to count. We see if they join in and if that's something that sticks well with them. So those are 3 of my kind of favorite ways to interrupt thinking. Some other things is just basic parent phrases. Our goal here is not to talk very much. That can send an already dysregulated brain into complete overwhelm. So our goal is to be as quiet as possible, which I know can feel really, really hard for a lot of us to not be like, "So what's going on in your brain right now is this, and we need to get you back to this." You're like, ever heard of a thinking brain? That's unfortunately not going to land during the time of dysregulation. So little things we can say. I'm here with you. I might say that and then be silent for 10 minutes and just sit there. It's okay to feel this right now. Silent. I'm going to breathe. Let's take a breath together. You're safe. Because again, what's happening when our brain is like this? This is saying danger, danger, danger. How do I get back to safety? Oh, mom just said, "You're safe." I'm starting to come down. Okay. She handed me a tactile anchor. Okay, I'm starting to come back to here. So always remembering, like, there's one thing you take away. It's just shut up. Just stop talking. Give yourself that break. There's less is more in this situation. Let them work through it. You're going to provide tools, but they are borrowing your calm. So if you don't want them sitting there, blah, 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 in your ear while you're feeling heightened, model it. It's the whole thing. I put on here, the slide feels a little overwhelming. Again, this isn't stuff to memorize, but it's key things that I think when we're feeling dysregulated in the moment, we've all been there. Like someone's freaking out and you're just like, "Just calm down." And they're like, "That's the worst thing you could possibly say in this moment. Like, I am calm." So some old phrases that might come out when you're yourself feeling dysregulated or you're with somebody who's highly dysregulated. Calm down, or why are you acting like this? If you don't stop, you get no TV time later. Or if you don't stop, no dessert. Or just use your words. Tell me what's going on. What are you feeling? Tell me. You're safe. Just tell me what's happening. I don't know what's happening, like freaking out. So some things that you can use instead, again, I don't need to read these, but your body looks like it needs a break. Let's step outside for a minute. Or I wonder if something might help you feel safer right now. Wondering, using declarative language to describe what you're seeing is the most powerful tool you can use. Don't demand, calm down, use your words, not gonna get you anywhere. The more you can just point out what you're observing and maybe offer, depending on your child, but offer a simple, let's get outside, or let's go for a walk, or I'm really thirsty, do you wanna get water with me? When you notice those early cues, that's gonna be your most powerful language. Again, I could do a whole presentation on declarative language, so we can come back to that. But the key takeaways for this section, the during section, are your presence matters more than words, like I just said a million different times. The biggest takeaway I would say is just stop talking. You're digging yourself a hole. Just be present, be there, be a calm body. Using short, validating scripts. So if you are going to say something that validates what they're experiencing or going through. Using sensory supports, some of the ones I mentioned, but even just moving for a second, a weighted item for some kids might really hit home. Deep pressure, you'll know your kid best, what they like, what feels good. And when we get to the recover section, that's also something you guys can come up together, like what do I need in those moments? And also realizing that the recovery period does start in this moment. So being able to come back down from this starts with where we're at the height of dysregulation. So after dysregulation, we have to emotionally recharge. Like, we just went through a lot. Think about when you get super worked up, like if you're at work or your husband or wife or somebody said something that just really ticked you off and you're like, ah, or you retreated to your room and stayed there for a little bit. It's hard to come back from that. Like, it's not just this immediate, like, okay, I took a breath, all better. I'm in thinking mode. I can do whatever you need me to do now. That's not how we work. We're humans. It takes a sec. Like, I might need to go spend some time in my room and then I need to do the dishes or go for a walk. I need time to come down from what I was just feeling, even if it wasn't a huge blowout, even if it was just I retreated into myself in that moment. I need time to get over it, basically. Like, I need time to recharge. So after a recharge has happened, so basically it could be minutes, it might be an hour, it might be later that evening, when we are at a place of full thinking mode, fully calm, never right after the meltdown. Again, that's like asking someone to go from 100 to 0 real quick. It just doesn't work. So giving some time, giving a break, maybe it's we're gonna go run this errand, we'll come back, get to a place of complete calm where we're not even remotely attached to that feeling of what we just experienced. We're gonna get to a place of reflection with our child. So some things you can practice in that, drawing is a really good one. The whole point of the reflection zone is to what were we feeling? What was just going on? How do we get there? What helped us come out of it? So reflection, asking your child to draw a picture. What were you feeling in that moment? Like, that looked like this to me. What did you feel? And if your child, that's a little bit too big, maybe, can you draw a picture of the weather? Like, what did your body feel like weather-wise? Like, was it rain? Was it a storm? Was it, a calm lake? Didn't look calm to me, but, you never know what that's gonna bring up. So can you draw me a picture of something they really like? Again, like Minecraft, things that, your child might really relate to. Like, draw what that felt like for me using this. And How do we keep you sunny next time if we're using a storm and you were in a big storm a few minutes ago? How do we get you back to sun, or how do we keep you more sunny next time? Using some of that language. Visuals or scales. So can you rank that 1 to 5? Like, where were we at? All right, cool. You were at a 4. How do you think we keep you at a 3 next time? Or what were helpful ways to get you back down to a 1 or a 0 after that? What felt really helpful during that moment? Did you need a hug? Did you need me to walk away? Did it help that I was sitting there? Those types of things. Again, this is way after the meltdown. We are not in any type of dysregulation right now. We are in a calm thinking state. So visuals or scales, and then rehearsing. So this is gonna happen again. You're gonna feel this way, it's a normal thing. What's something we can do differently next time? Come up with a plan together. It's the best way to do it. Practice it. Okay, so if you're feeling this next time, do you want me to hand you this silently? Should we try that, see how it goes? Again, this takes practice, in figuring out what works and what doesn't. And again, they might not always know what I need in that moment. I didn't even know what I was feeling. So starting off with that, what were we feeling? What was going on in your body? Is the first place, and then learning to rehearse and reflect after that. After reflection comes repair. So it's about reconnecting and not correcting the behavior. So none of that like, hey, that really sucked. Like, let's not do that again kind of language, but more about we mess up and we can fix it together. We're still okay. As a parent, your job is to model. I got frustrated too. Next time, I'm gonna pause and take a deep breath before we chat. That models to your child, one, I can take accountability for how I'm feeling and how I'm acting, which is the goal of what we want them to do. So everything we want them to do, we've got to do it first. We have to model it. So yeah, I didn't handle that well. Next time, I'm going to go for a walk before I respond to you. And then after that, we're going to get into the collaborative repair. So that is where you're going to be working with your child on how can we feel close again? Because there might be a moment where we're not feeling super connected, or they might feel you're mad at them, or feel really, really sorry about the way they acted, or any of those things. So, hey, what can we do to feel close again? Do you want to hug? Do you want to go play a game together? Do you want to go for a walk? Any of those things to let the child know that we mess up, we all do it, it's okay, and we can now move on from it. Because harping on it is not going to do anything but probably get us back to the state of dysregulation in the first place. So move on, and you have to let yourself move on too. All right, so key takeaways from that stage of recovery is do not skip the repair, which is the section of connecting. This is where the resilience grows. This is in the, okay, like I know I'm gonna get into the stage again. I know it's gonna be really, really hard, but I know we can work through it. And I know that mom or dad or grandma or guardian or whoever, teacher is on my side. They're gonna be there, they're gonna work through this with me. I have support, I have this person to lean on. I have this person to borrow their regulation when I don't have it yet. My goal is to get it, don't have it. Keep reflection brief, calm, shame-free. Again, away from the, that was something kind of language. Focus on what can be learned and not what went wrong. So what did we learn from that? We learned, hey, taking a deep breath really worked well that time. Let's try that again next time. I thought you did such a great job working through that. That was really hard. That was hard for me too, but we stuck through and we got through that together. That was awesome. We'll do that again next time. And then every repair strengthens your child's sense of safety and trust. So every time you get through one of these hard things, the next time it happens might be shorter. Again, takes a long time to get into it, but we might not get as heightened. We might not last as long in the grocery store sitting on the floor kind of a thing. Every time you repair and rebuild that relationship, you're telling your child, You've got me, you can borrow my calm, you can trust me, and you're safe. So when I told you you're safe, this is what it looks like. You're safe. I got you. All right. So a quick example of this, which has felt pretty relevant recently, is school refusal. I don't know if anybody's gotten there with their child yet of just like, yeah, I don't want to go to school. That's not happening. I do not feel safe there. So that can lead to some pretty frustrating mornings. That can be tough. And again, like, this is not a one size fits all. This is not going to work overnight. Like, you're not going to do this tomorrow morning and be like, great, we're going to school, no problems. They got themselves ready, actually. They went out to the bus and I was still in bed. This takes so much practice. And when you first start doing this, like, your kid might be like, what are you talking about? Like, you trying to do this might just get them out of dysregulation itself, because you're going to be like, so I'm recognizing. They're going to be like, good for you. Like, okay. Mom's on some weird stuff again. But you have to practice, 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 practice. The more you co-regulate with your child, the more they will learn to self-regulate. So that's what we're building towards. It's a long-term goal of self-regulation that takes repetition and consistency of co-regulation over a long time. So this is just an example of school refusal. So you might get up in the morning, your child is crying, screaming, hiding in their room. I am not going to school today. All right. I might have a reaction that's like, yeah, you are. Get your butt on the bus, get your shoes on, get out the door, right? That might be what I'm feeling inside of just like, I have to get to work. I have 8 million things to do. Get going. But when we see those signs of yelling, tears, hiding, they're already in this state. Their stress response has already flipped up and they are not thinking. They are acting with their emotional brain. So nothing you say at this moment of get your shoes on is going to land. So what might we do first? Recognize, hey, I noticed that you have some tears. Or I noticed that you're moving really slowly. Because they might not be saying any of this. They might just not be doing the thing. I noticed that you had a stomach ache last time you didn't want to go to school. Noticing behaviors, not offering any other language. I'm just noticing. I can see that school feels really scary right now. Gonna start to validate you a little bit in what I'm seeing. I cry when things feel tough too. It's not fun to feel that way. I'm gonna co-regulate. So again, this is gonna have to be a little bit of trial and error. It might be your students just not getting out of bed. I might go sit in bed with them, sit right next to them, say nothing, but this feels really hard right now. Some of those things. And again, sometimes you have to choose when this works. If you're late for work, like, it might not be the morning to do this because you're not gonna be in a regulated place to offer them to borrow your calm. So making sure, again, that you are in the place first to do this is really important. So you might not be able to do this every time. This might be we're gonna try this once a week right now and see how it goes as I'm learning to do it. Choosing the time is important for you. But I might go sit next to them. It's okay, I'm here, you're safe. Do you want to talk about what's feeling scary about school today? Might be a lot of silence, and that's okay. They're feeling you right there with them. They're feeling your body, your calm, steady voice, your breath, instead of mom yelling at me from downstairs while I'm already freaking out about the presentation I have to give at school, or confronting a friend, or not fitting in, or whatever those things are. Mom's not yelling at me this morning, so that's one thing I can take off my list. Mom's sitting here with me and mom's chill, so I can probably get there too. Once we've kind of done some of that, just sitting quietly, breathing, offering some of those tools. Hey, do you want to go listen to our morning playlist that we made? Or let's put that on. Whatever that is, offering some tools spaced out. You don't have to offer everything at once. Like, here's a tactile support and watch me move, and let's play a playlist. Like, not all at once. It's great you have these tools now, but let's hold our roll. Offer one thing and wait. See what happens. Let them engage with it. What's going on? Is it regulating? Is it not? Are they coming down? Are they engaging with you less or more? Are they like, okay, now I'm absolutely not talking to you. Like, we might have to try something else. So give yourself wait time, give them wait time to really engage and see if it's gonna stick or not. And then once we've done some of that co-regulating, okay, I've taken some deep breaths. I feel like I can get out of bed now. I'm not just stuck in bed. Great, let's go downstairs. Want to sit at the table with me? Okay. Not gonna make a big deal out of it either way. I'm not gonna say, wow, you got out of bed. If it was me, I'd be like, I'm getting right back in, you psycho. Stay calm. The whole point, less is more, less language. Walk calmly downstairs. Can I get you something for breakfast? No? Okay. Let's sit and chat. We might be feeling much more regulated at this point. Hey, what's going on for you? What's feeling hard about school? Let's chat about it. Got it. Now we have some stuff to work on. But the first thing we had to do was get from here to even here, where we can start working our way to here. Recovering. Yeah, I have really tough mornings too. Again, modeling that. I didn't want to go to work because Susan was asking me to do all of her work for her. I really hate when she does that. Like, it makes me just not want to go. Like, do you relate to that? That kind of stuff, you know, those kind of modeling of what you're feeling, what they might be feeling, and that repair of just, what can I do to support you right now? You're safe. I got you. Like, you'll be safe. Something we can work through. But again, less is more, less words. All right. So finally, the most important thing to remember, well, second after don't talk, is when their brains are flipped, they are in survival mode. There's actual perceived danger that they are trying to protect themselves. Nothing you say at this moment is going to land. We have to get them here before anything we say is going to stick or help us get to the next situation. So modeling, offering validating language, but we're in survival mode here. We're not in a place to regulate. So regulation comes first and foremost. We have to be here before we get to a place that we can talk or reason or learn or do our homework or any of those things. So we have to get to a place of regulation first where I feel safe. Children learn this through repeated experiences. It is not a quick fix. It takes time, it takes practice for them to feel comfortable with it too. Like, you might feel really weird, so do they. So giving that the time and allowing yourself the grace to try it over and over and over, knowing that it's probably not gonna work for a little while, is really freaking hard. But I promise you, keep at it, give the consistency, model, do all the things, and eventually it will become a habit. They'll be so used to it. They're gonna be like, I know what's gonna happen when I get to this place. Mom's gonna be like, you're safe. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna start telling themselves, I'm safe. That voice is gonna stick in there eventually. Mom has said this over and over and over. Okay, I'm safe. That's what we're looking for. All of the pieces are equally important. So there's not one, the prevention isn't more important than the repair. The during isn't more important than the before. Each phase plays its part in this. So knowing that, like, taking your time in each phase of this is equally important. Not rushing to the repair, give it time. Not rushing through the co-regulation, takes time. Again, it might not be every time that you have all the time in the world, but if you do, give it the time that you can. You know, if you can afford to not be at work at 8 a.m. or you can afford to drive them to school later that day and take the time to regulate that morning, great. That doesn't have to be 5 days a week. That can be you choose one day to try that, see how it goes. And using simple scripts, routines, different tools can be helpful. So again, your calm is your child's calm, and give yourself the grace to work through it, because being human is tough at all levels for us and for kids. It can be hard. So give yourself the time and the space. That's all I've got. So I will open up for a Q&A. I do want to do a quick little 5-minute chill down to give everybody the time to just reflect on what we talked about, kind of gather your questions, think about, if you have a comment on any of this, whatever. I'm an open book. So we're just going to do a 5-minute little rest and reset. And at the end of this, I'll open up to questions. Ready to go to the bathroom, or move, or get some water, whatever you got to do.
Before
right.
we start the Q&A, I just wanted to say, because Charlie had said that it's a whole nother presentation to do put your oxygen mask on first. We have that presentation. We have it done a couple of times. We'll send out a video. It's Dave Silvestro, those of you who may know Dave, who runs our support group and is like amazing psychologist, school psychologist from Eagle Hill and the Southport School.
Well, first of all, let me say how informative this is. I wish I'd had it when I was a parent, but I'll try to apply it as a grandparent. My question is, there are two of us guys here out of a population of mostly women. Have you thought about doing this in the evening as well, so that some more of us males can participate and hear about it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to if they'll have me.
Yeah, gotta invite you back, right? The second thing is, I mean, let's assume you've been self-regulating this way with the child and doing all the right things. Now your child heads off to college and doesn't have you to enable them. Is the theory that they have already, by that point, gotten so good at this that they don't need your self-intervention in all these ways?
Yeah, exactly. So the goal, I mean, obviously as early as you can start doing this, the better, and having this just as part of life. Starting everything is earlier, obviously. Starting things later on is hard. Implementing with teens anything is hard. So the goal would be, you know, you've been doing this over and over and over, and by the time that they're at school, just at normal school or, you know, elementary school, middle school, high school, they're not with you all day. So the goal is that they're doing this with you all the time, and so when they get in those moments that they are by themselves, they're starting to be able to do it themselves independently, self-regulate. That's 100% the goal, is that this is just them borrowing your calm is a step towards them doing it themselves. Yep, absolutely.
I do want to comment too. Hi, I'm Robin. I'm a volunteer with SPED NET. SPED NET's a pretty special organization because we're completely volunteer run, and we do have an amazing relationship with the Wilton Library, and all our presentations here are videotaped. You will all get a link with the video. Feel free to share it with anybody you know who works during the day who couldn't be here. Because I do agree, it was an amazing presentation. There might be people who aren't able to get here during the day, and that's the beauty of our collaboration with the Wilton Library, is that we get to send this out, and it reaches so many more people. So.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, just while I have the mic, I'm going to go through the questions so we're not jumping around the room, if that's okay.
Yeah.
First question is, and this was a struggle for me as a parent, especially trying to go through gentle parenting when I had my second, was how do you do this with two kids? How do you do this when there is one child setting off the dysregulation of the second child, and when they are both needing different things from you and both regulate in different ways?
Yeah, that can be really hard. So we ran into this a lot at school. This was our approach that we took as teachers and head of school, whatever. You know, we would have 30 kids around us that all had their own needs, regulation needs, whatever that was. So you have to have boundaries, even in gentle parenting or just regulating in general. There's still boundaries. It doesn't mean that co-regulating looks like, okay, do whatever you got to do during this time. There's still boundaries, and keeping your children safe and your students safe is the number one most important thing. So them understanding also, like in those moments of repair and reflection, my job as mom or dad or grandpa or grandpa is to keep you safe. So there's sometimes that we can't do that. And there's sometimes that we do need to move our bodies away from that. And I'll let you know those moments so it feels more predictable. But my boundary in this moment is that it's not fair for you to do blank to your sister, or you doing this in front of sister or brother is hard for them to deal with. So as much as you're regulating, and again, not in the heat of the moment, this is something we talk about before or way later, you doing that isn't creating a safe space for them. And we have to make sure everyone is safe.
How do you do that and not make it shame-based?
Yeah, I think it's It's the boundary. I think
Yeah.
having boundaries is really, really important. So, hey, my boundary as mom, I have to keep everybody safe. So when you're in a moment and that's not creating safety for somebody else, whether that's emotional safety or physical safety, whatever that is, we have to make sure everyone's feeling safe in this moment. And we would do that, at school. Sometimes if we were in more of an explosive setting, other people had to leave. And, that's just what had to happen at that time. And then we would repair with everybody after. So making sure that the repair, if there's 2 siblings, isn't just between mom and dad. It might be between sister and brother, whatever that is. But the boundary, and just using that language all the time of my boundary is keeping both of you safe. And so when the environment's not safe for one of you, I have to make sure that we're, taking the steps that everyone is feeling that way. So that's how we used to really frame it the best that we could for kids, is that safety is important and you don't get to make somebody else feel unsafe. So if you're feeling unsafe, I totally get that. Like, I acknowledge that you're feeling unsafe, but so are they. So we need to make sure that everyone's feeling safe, and that's not what's happening right now.
Okay.
So the boundary, that's one of my favorite words, is just my boundary is blank.
Okay. Second question.
Yep.
I only have 3, I promise. The second one is what to do with a child who actively fights tools that you try to give them.
Can you give me an example?
Oh, sure.
Sure.
I mean, taking dragon breath, if
Mhm.
you've tried that before,
Yeah.
with like that, or with the straw
Yep.
in a bowl, trying to blow bubbles in a bowl, or something to help them regulate their breathing,
Mhm.
or going to a calm down corner if you have a space like that, making them aware enough to move their body in that direction, or say that they need deep compression. You can see that they need deep compression, but if you go anywhere near them, they're gonna explode.
Yep.
So what?
Yeah, I would say they're not ready for it yet. They haven't worked through the recognize phase yet, and that might be longer for some people. So before we get to the co-regulation piece of, hey, I have tools, mom's got tools, I know what you need, them getting to a place where they're recognizing it themselves. So just keeping your distance, a lot of times, sometimes encroaching can set off more, I'm in danger, or, physicality, like having to go physically move somebody can just set off that. Anything they do is going to be worse when you do that than if you give them their space. So it might be elongating the time before you go offer that. It could be sitting 10 feet away and saying, you're safe, I'm here. And that might be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It might be 20 minutes. The goal is hopefully it'll get shorter over time the more you do it, of you're safe, I'm here. Let me know when you're ready. I'll be here. That kind of a thing, and just waiting until they're the ones, that are coming to you next.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's hard because it can be a long time. I mean, I've sat in a classroom with a student for an hour saying, you're safe, I'm here, over and over, 10 minutes apart, and just waiting. But if you try to do it before that, it's going to amp up what's going to happen. It might look like I'm sitting in a corner quietly disengaging from you, to, okay, you want to try to play this game? I'm going to throw this stapler across the room. Bet, like they're going to amp it up. So the more you can just, I'm not talking, I'm not offering you tools at this time, I'm noticing your body looks really tense. Let me know when you're ready to, come down from that a little bit.
Okay.
And I'll be here. Yep.
Okay, last one is, it could be most kids. What do you do when it feels like they're taking advantage of the slowdown to avoid the thing? So like what they were angling for this whole time was to not do the thing.
Do it.
And now you're giving them all of this calm motion, and they're like, fantastic, great.
Yep.
Add 10 more minutes to the clock.
Yep.
It's just, it feels like a manipulation of my co-regulation.
Yep. It happens.
Yeah.
Like you're going to fall into it. Like it does. Like no one's perfect. I would say, like, to the best you can, like, eventually follow through on that thing. So, like, even if it's the next day, if it's 2 hours later, if it's after school, if it doesn't happen beforehand, we're going to do the thing. So even in that, like, reflection and repair, like, hey, like, so I know you needed more time to use my calm this time. We're still going to do the thing. So plan on it. You know, like, it's still the boundaries. You have to have the boundaries. And again, using that language, my boundary is that this is going to get done. So you can choose, because a lot of this is about control, right? Like, there's definitely a component of feeling in control. When we're in danger, we're feeling not in control. So giving them the, even if it's perceived notion of control, hey, you can choose when we do this. It's going to get done. We're going to do the thing, whether you want to do it now or later. We're going to brush your teeth. So you choose, kind of a thing. And again, you don't have to frame it as like, you choose, but like, I'm being a little blunt. But giving them, you know, perceived control can be a really powerful tool too, of just, I know you're not ready to do this now, but it's going to happen. So just letting you know. Yeah.
Hi. First of all, thank you so much for this presentation. And if you came up with the title of it, when I got the newsletter, the title jumped off the page of my computer screen, and my wife said the same thing, which is what even made us come here. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
There was a slide you had that had the fight, flight, freeze, and then fawn. Like, I'm very familiar with the first two.
Yeah.
More so, not as much with the third. I have never before today saw the fawn as something included. I've never seen that before. So my request is, can you just, for the uninitiated into that concept, could you maybe speak a little bit more about what that looks like?
Yep.
Some examples, and then also from your experience, what might make someone demonstrate those things, like what in the past might make somebody exhibit the fawning as opposed to like one of the other things?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, and that's a really good point. I often get that as the, like, there's more of those responses. Like, I thought we were good with fight, flight, freeze. Like, I had those covered. Like, don't bring another thing into this. So I get that a lot. Fawn is kind of your classic, like, I'm waving my white flag. Like, you might see a student or a child be playing with their friends, and they might be playing a game, and you're overhearing this happening, and they're like, oh, we skipped Bobby. And you're like, hey, Bobby, like, didn't you want to turn? And they're like, oh, no, that's okay. I'm good. I don't need a turn. So they're in that, like, I don't want to engage. I'm going to just let this happen, and I'm not going to say anything about it. Whereas the fight, you might see Bobby say, it's my turn, flip the thing over, you know, like, don't skip me. So it's more of that, like, I do not want to get involved in this, and I am protecting myself by just going like this and holding my hands up. Freeze, a lot of times you see, you see kind of that zoning out more so, of that, just like, I'm paralyzed a little bit. Like, I'm not engaging. It's the same thing. So this is where I said it could be a whole other presentation. There's hyper and hypo arousal. And so our brain might be getting too little or too not enough of something. And so typically when you see those, like, running away things, they're not getting enough. And when they're diving headfirst, they're getting too much. So there's different strategies you can take based on which one you're seeing. Again, it kind of depends on your kiddo and, like, what you're seeing, on how you're going to make the decision on what to choose. Like, am I going to offer a dragon breath, or is that just not going to land right now because they are getting way too much input? Like, I need to just remove input, right? So did I answer your question? Part of it. Okay.
For lack of a better word, not to put any of us down, but, like, are there specific parenting failures of our previous treatment that predisposes them to choose that as their, to me, it's just, these are all coping mechanisms, that they don't yet know what to do with what they're being dealt with. And we're all not the masters of regulation. So what would predisposition, if that's the right word, a child to choose fawning as their way of dealing with what they're dealing with
Yeah.
versus the other three that are more commonly spoken about?
Yeah. That's a really good question. And I would say, yeah. So I would say, yeah.
Yeah. I just said that it's possibly yelling that might be causing that fawning. And to expose myself a little bit, that when I am completely dysregulated because my child, who is almost 5, is having multiple, what is the word I'm looking for? Where they're so dysregulated that there's no getting to them because they are just like falling. What is the word where they're falling down on the floor?
Flopping.
Yeah, but there's a word for it, and tantrum. My
Oh.
goodness gracious. Clearly, I'm not sleeping. But when she is tantruming multiple times a day, and I'm trying my best to do the gentle parenting thing, bring her back down, comfort her, fill her cup with my calm, and if I'm just like, just get in the car, I don't want to get to that point, but it happens. And then, I feel later when we do talk about it, and I do apologize, I am very sorry that I responded that way. I shouldn't have done that. And then she'll tell me, yeah, you should have counted to 10. You should have taken a deep breath. And I'm like, are you serious?
Like, you're going to set me off
But
again.
good for you. Good for you calling me out on my BS. But later, if she wants something, or I don't know, she'll just be like, Mommy, you're so beautiful. I'm like, oh, you're a liar. But that, I feel, is probably part of it. So now I feel like garbage, and like I'm super down on myself because I'm thinking, oh, crap, that's the fawning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I'm not saying, and I feel like by that happening, that means that, like, oh my God, like, am me losing my stuff like once a week because I am so dysregulated. I'm also a stay-at-home mom, not to make any excuses for myself, but, and also not having the other parent there. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm co-opting your thing, so I'm gonna give this back to you.
You're good.
Oh, I do have you.
Question of like what things that the parents may either be doing or not or failing to do that would predispose what could the parents either be doing or failing to be doing that would put that child in a position where their adaptive response becomes fawning as opposed to the more traditionally fight, flight, or freeze?
Yeah. So what
Like,
to
are they coming
say?
out of the womb like that, or is that more of like a created phenomenon because of certain behaviors that child's parents give off?
Let's get into nature versus nurture. No, I was kidding. One, I'll say, like, everyone's just doing their best, right? Like, that's all you can do at the end of the day is your best. Like, you're going to freak out. You're going to have these things. But it could literally be any part of the spectrum on how you react to things. Could it be yelling? 100%. Like, I reacted explosively, and so your first response is, before you even respond, I'm going to say, I love you so much, I'm so sorry, I'll go sit in the corner, whatever that is. I'm going to immediately do that to avoid getting your yelling reaction because I'm hoping that's going to bring you back down. Or 2, it could be, that's what I've modeled. Maybe mom and dad get in a tiff in the kitchen, I overhear it, and instead of it being a calm conversation, it was mom saying, blah, 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 and dad saying, I'm so sorry. So sorry. I'm just, yep, you're right. Love you. You're good. So it can be modeling too. So it can really be like, that's both ends of the spectrum, is that like, I didn't even experience it, but this is what I've seen other people do, and it tends to work and diffuse the situation. So that's what I'm going to use when I get into that moment. It could be, this is what I've experienced, and now I'm reacting by, you know, curling in the corner. So you can't predict that, and you can't do really anything to like change how things, have gone up until then. And it could just be their natural response to stress. Some people respond fight, some people, why does that happen? So it's just the person too. Like it could be absolutely nothing you did and just how they respond. So that's a sucky answer, because I'm like, it depends, but it does. Like, it's just like, it's trying to understand the complexities of somebody's brain, mind, and stress response. Like, that's a crazy thing to try to like say I have the answer. So it could be anything and nothing at the same time. Yeah.
I actually have a question about freeze. We have a lot of older caregivers in our family, and a lot of people who were taught the older use your words and stuff like that. And I have trouble explaining the difference between calm and freeze. It looks like the kid is listening. She's listening. She stopped crying, but I'm like, she's not calm. And I can't articulate it. Do you have any guidance on like how to teach an old dog new tricks?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I've got grandparents involved too. I'll open up to you in a sec.
Holding together so that they can let it out.
Yeah, that's a good question as well. Did you hear what she said?
Thank you. Either way, they're not in a state where they're going to be receptive. And we have a lot of, just tell me what's happening. Just talk to me. Just talk to me. And the child is kind of panicking, and it's a spiral. And I don't know how to teach the adult that this is not helpful.
As like silly and cheesy as it can be, like the hand model can be really effective. Like I use it with adults and I use it with kids. Like I used to have a secret signal with one of my students because she was you would never know that she was dysregulated. Like she was overly compliant, like everything. I was like, hello, like we're not here. So we used to use it in class. Like she would literally look at me and like move her hand like this, or like she would just be on the table going like this, like little things where we had that connection where she could let me know. So I had kids using it, but also it can be helpful with grandparents of just putting it into an image of like, hey, thinking brain's gone, thinking brain's up here, like everything we want our kids to do executive functioning wise, plan, have a conversation with me, whatever that is not online. This is what's online right now, which is all emotion. So it can feel really silly, like explaining it to adults and parents, but I think it's a really helpful visual of just like not there. Like emotions are at the forefront of everything right now. And even though she looks quiet or calm, this is where we're at. This is all offline. So that can be a helpful, just like little tool trick.
Can you explain though, like if I say, oh, she's not there, they might say, of course she's there. So what can they look for themselves that indicates freeze as opposed to calm?
Yeah. And does this happen like when you're there or like when you're not there? Or both?
I mean, clearly I see it when I'm there, and I'm convinced it happens when I'm not there too.
Yeah. So there could be just some modeling of like, I'm not even going to talk directly to the grandparents. Like I'm going to do what I would do if I was talking to my child, which is, hey, I'm noticing that you're staring blankly out the window, or I'm like, what are things that you noticed when this is happening? And modeling that behavior of just like, hey, I'm noticing this, and that kind of being just modeling for them of like, oh, she's not even correcting me, which might put them a little bit less on the defensive of just like, oh, she's not talking to me. but they're going to start to notice those things too, because you're modeling the declarative language of just, hey, I'm noticing you're picking your nails,
Mhm.
you know, that kind of stuff. So just modeling it can be really effective.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hi. I have like 3 questions, but the first one actually kind of related to what she was saying earlier. So, with my son who's 7, when he really flips the lid, I take. So he has 2 other siblings. So I'm dealing with multiples here who are younger than him.
Mm-hmm.
And when he goes into a thing, I have to actually like extract him because he starts bothering. He doesn't tell me what it is that's what he needs. It's a lot of me trying to guess. And I just take him out of the scene. I bring him in the room with me. And then I sit on the floor. You know, I kind of sit against the door so he doesn't leave because he's being a danger to the others. And all I say is, you're here, you're safe. Wait. But he doesn't, he hits me. He comes to me. He wants me. He doesn't want me. He doesn't let me be. So, you know, when he said the stapler going across the room kind of thing, he acts very disruptive, trying to get me to react. And I go up and down, you know, and I try to calm myself again, and it's a whole cycle, and I don't know how to break that cycle, even though I'm doing the calm.
Yeah.
That's
really
the first question. Like,
it's
how do you
tough.
get out of that when I'm like, for an hour, maybe 2,
Yeah.
like I'm not even exaggerating, you know, sorry? Oh, pushing to another, but I mean, like, I'm here for you, and I'm trying to stay calm, but it lasts so long, and I don't know how to actually, when they still hit and stuff, like, how do I actually get out of that?
Yeah. It can be really, really hard. So I understand that experience for sure. Again, like using the language of boundaries. So like, you know, I've been in grocery stores with students before that have had meltdowns, start pulling stuff off the shelf. And my language is, my boundary is that this stays on the shelf. My boundary is that I don't feel safe when you hit me.
I've said that.
You know, it's a no. So it's so hard not knowing the child to give you an
he's very
answer.
stubborn. He
Yeah.
has an extremely strong will. He's like extremely intelligent.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like when he really is to that point, it gets to this, and he doesn't
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
Like it just does not stop.
Yeah. I had a student that was like very similar to that and around the same age as well. So obviously we would do the thing. Sometimes, and I'm sure you have tried everything, sometimes like just a distraction. Like I'm just gonna start playing this game and see if you join in. Like I'm gonna start stomping around the room and see if you model that. Anything to break into that, like, you're spiraling. I need to somehow stop the spiral. So I'm going to do something that is calm and regulated, but maybe a little out there just to break the thing. And once you get one little moment of that, you can feed into it. It might be a total redirection. Like it might be, you know, we're in the room alone together and I'm going to start dancing. Like it might be but like silently. Like, you know, like something that you're like, what are you doing? Something that just does that little bit of like, oh, that's mom. Like, I remember.
So do you expect that to stop? Because I have done that. And he laughs.
Yeah.
And he snaps at it for a minute and then hugs me. And then 2 seconds later, he goes back into falling into that. If he laughs? Oh, then he gets more mad and he actually starts more aggressively attacking me.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if I do the dancing or, you know, like doing something silly or making a joke or, you know, trying to snap him out of it, he
Yeah.
will for that split minute.
Second.
And then go back.
Yeah.
So just continue doing it?
Yeah, it might be something else. Like I need 2 things to get you distracted, or I need 3 things just to get to that point of like, we can start to co-regulate, because that's what you're trying to get to. It might just be, and I know you said this, I'm here, I'm blah, blah, blah. I might just be calling out, I'm noticing you're stomping around the room. What if we stomped around the room in a figure 8? I'm noticing you're banging on me. Why don't we try banging on the wall? How hard can we hit the wall or this pillow? Or you're screaming in my face. Let's scream out the window. Do you think we can get the neighbors to hear us? Anything that's gonna like cause that reaction, you're like, the neighbors hear us.
the hero.
You're like not the problem. But
Okay.
just like try, and I don't want to say trying. I know you're trying. Trying to distract and then trying to get some type of regulation. So again, hitting, screaming, whatever that is, that big thing that's coming out for them, can you direct it in a way that they're using it towards something else that might, help them get to a place where we can
Okay.
just sit and just
I will try more.
be. Yeah.
I mean, thank God, it's getting a little bit less now that he's 7.5. So it's
yeah.
not as bad as, oh my God, I don't know how I had more kids after him, but
I totally get that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So now my actual question is, so let's say they act, let's say they don't want to go to school, right? And you mentioned like they're just staying in bed. So I have actually snuggled in bed with them in the morning when it's chaotic, and I have the other two as well. And I lay there and I'm like, oh, what's up? Da, da, da. And it just takes forever. And then, okay, fine, I'll give you forever. And then it's like, okay, time's going. But then I'm like, okay, so now it's actually time. We really got to go now. But they just want more and more and more and will not snap. Like, again, will not get out of. And then if I actually get up and leave at that point, then they will, like, he will attack, or not attack. He says attack, but anyway,
Yeah.
he will like start bothering one of his sisters, or dancing or whatever. Like, he will do anything and everything to not start the routine or not start something. Even though I'm joining him initially in the calm and their environment of whatever they were doing, like, is there any pointers to how to actually get them to move?
Get them to
especially in
go.
the morning?
I would say like maybe one of those, like, try a new routine of like, again, like I'm going to use the playlist as an example, but like, hey, let's create this
Yes,
playlist.
I like that one, actually,
Like,
by the way.
blah, thanks. Blah, blah, blah. Like, try new stuff. It might be a new thing every week. Like, it might be like this week is our playlist week, and every morning we're going to wake up, go turn the playlist on. Like, you got to get it going. It might be a different playlist for how we're feeling. So it might be a good time to check in the morning. Like, how are you feeling this morning? Oh, I'm feeling like jazzed. Like, I feel great. Probably not going to be the answer. But like, one can hope. Like, I'm feeling so pumped. Great. Do you want pump up music, or do you feel like we need to like calm down to get ready for the day? Cool. Let's choose this playlist. Maybe you come up with silly names for the playlist to kind of keep them in that thing. So using like different things, but consistently, can also be really effective. Like, it doesn't have to be the same one every time. Or maybe you have a visual schedule that Mondays are playlists and Tuesdays are blank, or they wake up and they choose what they want to do. You want to do playlist today? Do you want to do this? Control, perceived or real is really helpful.
Okay, I definitely will use these pointers. Thank you.
Awesome.
This is my last question. I'm sorry. So then when you get to the repair, this happens with both of my older ones, because I have a 2-year-old who doesn't understand that yet. What if, like, during repair, they don't even want to talk about it or revisit what has happened? Like, they completely ignore it. And I'm like, look, hey, listen, I for instance, one of them is a huge reader. And I'm like, oh, I noticed you went to read when you were starting to get riled up. Does that calm you? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, great. So maybe we'll keep that as one of our tools. And then he'll be like, okay. And I'm like, can you give me 2 others so I can like choose? Or even with my daughter, and just, they don't want to talk about it or revisit what happened or how they felt. Even though I try to be like, I'm so sorry I yelled, of course, because we always resort to that. I'm so sorry I yelled. I'm so sorry I acted this way. I'm really trying hard not to. We're a team, blah, blah, blah. But they still don't want to hear any of it. Like, any pointers on how to get them to, or at least how to repair to the point where they won't, we're not traumatizing them?
It might just be you modeling it for a while. Like, they might not be ready to engage with it. One, I would say, I'm sure you are, but make sure you're waiting long enough. So like, make sure that it's been a long enough time where they aren't gonna get back into the state by revisiting it. Like, again, like, you maybe try waiting longer. Like, wait till the next day and then get back to, hey, remember yesterday when we were, going through that time, like, your shoulders got really tense and blah, blah, and you went to read? That was awesome. Like, how did that make you feel when you were like those types of things? And again, it might be way later and you might be reminding them of it, but waiting enough time is really important. And yeah, too, like you might just be modeling it for a while until they feel like it's a normal enough thing to engage in conversation with. It might just be a lot of, hey, I definitely didn't do a great job regulating earlier, did I? Like my lid flipped, like I went off the rails. Sorry about that. Let's figure out how we can do this better next time. Next time I might go for a walk before we talk about this. I might have a drink of water. I might jump up and down a few times before like I'm ready to engage. Do you have anything that helps you, kind of a thing? If there's no answer, I saw you really liked reading when you were feeling that way. That's such a great tool. I like reading too. If there's other ones, like, please let me know. Like, if you figure that stuff out, it might just be you having that conversation with yourself for a while. And that's weird. But like, eventually, and I know I keep saying that, like, it will become normal and it will become a habit, and the time will start to go down. You're saying it already has with your son, like you're doing the right stuff. Like
Now it's my daughter.
you just, your daughter.
No,
You
I
just,
said now it's my daughter,
now
my
it's your daughter.
5-year-old.
Now we're moving down. Like you just have to keep doing what you're doing. It will pay off. Like you just have to keep at it. And I know that
So
is
we're hoping.
it's hard. It's so hard. It's
so
really
not
hard.
to let go. I mean, like,
I just want to make a comment real quick because we have a program on Wednesday that's very much related to this topic. It's a different format. We do this every year in a parent's home, and and we do have a clinical social worker that comes, Dave Silvestro. Oh, psychologist. Ooh. Anyway, it's called Holiday Harmony, Helping Kids Thrive During Gatherings and Routine Changes. It's a very popular event. We do have a couple of slots left because we do cap it, but it's in Weston, in a parent's home, right in Weston Center. And it's an opportunity to talk about some of those issues with dealing with external family that you see around the holidays. The traveling, we all know traveling can be hard with our kids. It's a really popular event. We cap it at 20 people, but we do have a few slots left. So if that's something you're interested in attending, it's from 11 to 1 on Wednesday. See Eve or I in the back before you go.
Hi there, thank you. I have an 8-year-old son with like just very classic ADHD, and we've been doing like parent management training for 4 years. Come a long way, still need all the reminders. Really appreciate everything today. The specific challenge, or one of the challenges I'm having right now in the 2nd grade, is he's just got the toughest classroom environment he's had. Really strict teacher, a bunch of kids who are just stimulating in the wrong way. So he's coming home and, like at 10 o'clock at night, it'll come out that something happened, and they're getting these cycles of like disruption, shame. I don't want to go to school. I'm scared of going to the principal. And I'm just wondering if there's any advice. I'm talking to the psychologist at the school and externally talking to the school, doing all the obvious stuff. But when I'm talking to him, either proactively or in those moments at 10 o'clock where suddenly something comes out, like any advice on how I can speak to in a way that helps him draw in some of these skills in those moments at school when I can't be there to kind of walk him through it.
Yeah, and it's a tough one because like I also think it's easy to forget that like kids like I don't want to say shouldn't know how to do this, but like they don't, like we barely know how to regulate ourselves. Like of course kids don't know how to do it, and then we're putting them in these environments with like 25 kids who also don't know what they're doing. Like it's so freaking hard. Like it's like, yeah, of course your 2nd grader can't regulate. Like that's duh, like of course. So I just want to start off with that, and that like that's not his problem. Like I hate to say that, but like there's a lot that adults can be doing to help, and I'm sorry that that is not your experience right now, because that is really hard when you're not there to help navigate through that. Yeah, I mean, giving him little tools like maybe like even having like a sensory thing in his thing, like if he likes different things. Oof. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Like a happy file that he could bring with him, look through.
Oh.
When he gets like, so what does that look like for him during the day? Like what type of,
Like super defensive. So for example, one issue he's having is like, so and so's always trying to make me laugh on purpose, and like, whatever that kid's reasons are, he can't control himself. If somebody's making faces at him while the substitute teacher is talking, he's gonna spiral, and like the behaviors become repetitive and get bigger, and it's disruptive in the classroom. And then he's very defensive if anyone says he did anything. No, I didn't. Like he gets very hurt and sensitive very quickly.
is he like aware when he's like being distracted? Like, does he tell
I
you
think
like,
so.
oh, so-and-so starts making faces and I can't stop laughing kind of a thing?
Yeah. he's
Yeah,
very
so
aware.
maybe giving him some tools that like are calmer distractions, like, hey, like when you notice so and so starts making faces at you, instead of looking that way, I want you to reach in your bag and grab blank. It could be anything, like anything that the teacher allows them to have, whether it's a fidget or again, like a piece of fabric that has different textures. Maybe it's like a swatch of, a few different things that he can carry. So something that distracts him in a better way that he can then use to regulate. So like something that gets his mind into like what he's feeling in his body. Like, oh, I'm feeling this soft fabric. I'm feeling this scratchy fabric. Things that get him that way. But I also hate to say like, yeah, if someone's making a funny face in second grade class, like we'd probably all laugh. Like that's, it's a normal experience too, to some degree. So like, yeah, there's little grounding things I would say that would probably be the most helpful for him. But that also relies on him being regulated enough to access the executive functioning that says, I'm going to reach in my backpack and grab this thing to regulate myself. But if he's in this mode, that's not going to happen. So
Earlier.
it has to happen earlier.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
I promise. I was just curious, when you mentioned in the slide, will we get to see the slides also, by the way?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So in the moments when it said like how to engage during dysregulation, be present. But at the same time, when we were talking about how the aftermath, to say like, okay, well, as a parent, maybe I needed to take time away, go for a walk. But when that is not possible, and you are like this with your own child,
Yeah.
and you don't, obviously, never yelling is the goal.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm from where I was as a teenager, dealing with it to now, I feel like
Yeah.
there's a great improvement. But is it like to walk away, to even go in the next room, to go in the bathroom, to like, sit on the tub, not in it, on it, does that trigger like abandonment in your child, to just even take those moments when they're dysregulated and you know that you need to step back to just catch yourself, to like breathe? Does that trigger some feelings of abandonment in them, especially if your rejection? Yes, yes, especially if your partner isn't there to like, for me to be like, I'm tapping out. I need to tap out for a moment to catch my breath. Is that just as harmful as being there and like being stone-faced because you don't want to yell? Like I don't know really what's worse at this point for me as a parent, if I'm being very honest.
Yeah, obviously that's like a hard thing to do, right? But like at the end of the day, like you have to take care of yourself first. You have to. They are resilient. They are adaptable. They will be fine. Like this is a moment in time and it sucks, but like you'll get through it and you're going to repair it. So you have to take care of yourself. If you're able to sit there stone face and just say, you're safe, I'm here, great. But if you need to tap out because otherwise you're going to flip your lid, take a beat. You can say, it's okay that you're feeling this way. I'm also feeling this way. I need to take a breath, and I'm going to model that for you. I'm going to step out of the room. I'm going to take a breath, and I'll be right back. I'm in the house. I'm here for you. I'm present. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not in trouble. I'm not mad at you, but I need a second. So maybe we can both take a breath. Take care of yourself first. Have to. Even though it's really hard sometimes to be like, hold up, like, BRB. But you have to. Yeah. Yeah, you're modeling it.
You know, showing you how big my feelings were, and sorry, I'm so sorry. but you're not, and they'll see that.
If you were abandoning them, you'd be getting in a car and probably not coming back. So
They see that.
You're coming back, like you're coming back, and they'll know that you always come back too, right? Like
Mommy
you're not just
always comes back.
you're not just leaving and not doing anything afterwards. You're leaving and you're coming back, and you're modeling that for them.
Get that it feels like that though, and it feels so wrong. But like, what's the worst thing? Like exactly what you just said. Like, what feels worse, yelling at them or telling them that you're dysregulated too? You're a human being. You're not this impossible standard of a gentle parent that never has emotions.
Yeah.
Or how would you teach them to deal with emotions?
Yeah. Or you might be able to practice self-regulating in front of them too sometimes. Like you might start jumping up and down or start moving your body or shaking out, saying, I'm regulating. This is what I need to do right now. My body feels this way. I need to move. I need to get this out before we can do this together. So 100%. Take care of you.
Hi there. You've given a ton of great information already, but really quick question on sports. When your child becomes dysregulated during the game, how to keep them in the game?
That can be hard.
You have 5 seconds. And everyone's staring, you know, that situation.
Yeah. You know, I would say like off the bat, like maybe staying in the game's not the right call. Like that would be my initial inclination, is that like if you're feeling dysregulated, maybe right now is the time to tap out. And if you're saying tap out, like, hey, that's a good strategy. Like you're telling us you're not, you know, you don't have the capacity to do this right now. And then working through it after, like maybe it's one of those times where in the moment's not it, you know? Hopefully working towards it becoming the right thing, where you can develop some tools where in the moment they're able to implement some stuff. But I would say off the bat, it's probably gonna be more of like a, hey, good job telling us, you know, you're not feeling regulated. What's going on? Let's explore that. What are you feeling? Which I'm sure you're doing, but like working on that and then developing some of the like prevention things or in the moment tools that they can then use as they get to a place where they can regulate for longer.
Okay.
So yeah, that would be my like first thought on it, is just like, yeah, maybe it's not the right thing to stay in like off the bat, you know, like, which sucks. It's hard to hear. It's like, go.
Thanks.
Hi, a question, hopefully a quick one. You mentioned that you use the brain hand sign with students. At what age, or is there an age that you can become more transparent with all of this to help a child understand, you know, more scientifically and in a more adult way why it works?
So my philosophy is like I talk to pretty much all kids like they're human. I don't know, adult. Like I talk to them the same way I would talk to anybody. I explained this. I had kindergartners that I did this with. You know, I wouldn't be saying the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala and the, you know, I wouldn't be using that. Maybe I would, depending on the kid, to be honest. I might use that language and just say like, this is what's actually going on in your brain. But that can be really powerful for a little kid to hear, hey, like, this is one, like a really normal thing that happens in everybody's brain. Let's look at what that looks like when your brain's doing this. Like, it's called flipping your lid, you know, and it kind of becomes like fun language to use. Like, my lid is flipped. Like, I'm in flipped mode, you know? So I did it. Yeah, I had kindergartners that I used that with off the bat.
These are things that make most people feel better when their lid is flipped.
Mhm.
And this is how we learn about this. You'd almost any age, you would move to that if you felt the child was ready for that. Great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sorry, one more question
You're
that came
good.
up that actually is probably the most fundamental question. So in the end, I feel like most of it is us, right? The mom flipping the lid. And the thing is, I try so many of the techniques, like deep breaths, shaking out, jumping. I've even laid on the floor. And sure, for the minute, I calm down. And then literally within a millisecond, one of the children is triggering me yet again. And then, of course, time is always essential. And it's very, very hard to remain in that calm state. And like, how, even though we use all the tools, how can, like, I feel like in the end, it's me. You know, I'm, you know, overdone, and I end up resorting to yelling all the time. And how can I still, even though I calm myself, but to remain in that calm despite the triggers that constantly are not stopping?
Yeah, it's hard.
I know.
Really hard. I mean, I could say a million things right now, like make sure you're taking care of yourself.
I'm sorry, it's not possible. Like,
Trying to get some
I know
time.
that, like, yes, take
Yeah.
a break, do this. I am a mom of 3. My husband's working all day and night. By the time he gets home, kids are in bed. He's like, "Oh, great day." I'm like, "Yeah, great day."
Yeah.
You know, like,
you
it's
did great,
just-
champ. Yeah.
Like, realistically speaking,
Yeah.
I'm home alone with, I'm staying at home with them, and for me to even leave for work or even to hire a babysitter is so expensive, and it's just so tough, and I don't have any help from anyone else.
Yeah.
So realistic, I know, you know, I go to all these
The
things
ideal
a
world.
lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
the ideal world, but realistically, if I'm in this now, and with these are my, you know, circumstances, how can I still be able to regulate myself
Mhm.
past the minute of calming down this one trigger, but then I get like a 10
Yeah.
other triggers?
Yeah. So the next thing I was going to say, which I think is like one of the hardest things, is like sometimes, like, it's also realizing like how much control am I trying to have in the situation. And like, okay, we're rushing out of the house because we have to be on time for blank and blank and blank. Is it that important? Like, is it going to end the world if we don't get there on time? Like, is it okay if we're late? Like, those are questions that I think can really like let yourself off the hook sometimes. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect, and it never can be. And you're in the freaking thick of it with 3 kids. Like, and it's so hard to let go of that control, to be like, no, we have to leave on this time. We have to do this, and we have to have 3 vegetables for dinner, and blah, blah, blah. I think sometimes pausing and like understanding that you can pick your battles sometimes. It doesn't all have to be a battle. And that you having the control in every single moment isn't going to get you anywhere.
So is there a quick mantra or something to ask yourself in the heat of that moment to remind you to let go of that control? Because I definitely have that control. Like, for me, it's time, school, we gotta be on time. It's gonna be on your report card. You know, like, I have a very, I guess, uptight personality in that sense. Like, I'm very,
I have a couple. Some of them are like rap lyrics. Like, to be honest with you, like sometimes I have to be like, so like the one, I think it's like Missy Elliott, like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Let me work. You know, like sometimes I literally just have to step back and be like, is this worth it? Like, is this worth me losing my mind over? Like, most of the time, probably not. And if it's something that I really like can't get out of my head, I literally go to like, is this gonna impact the world? That's literally like, sometimes I have to get into that framework of like, this moment is so little, it feels so big to me right now. Is this going to have an impact on anything besides this moment?
There's also
Most of the
that
time, the answer is no.
There's also that idea of good enough.
Yes, it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes good is good enough. Yeah.
You do a lot without even, like, our kids are almost never on screens. Like,
Yeah.
they find things to do by themselves. They're super, like, they're thriving. So I think I'm going to just backtrack for a second and remind you to give yourself credit because it's not going to be perfect. So.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, quick question. How would you talk someone through the flee and freeze around homework? 10-year-old, smart kid, once he actually does it, it takes him 10 or 15 minutes. It's an hour up to it. And we use a visual timer. He knows the schedule. It's, yeah.
How would you say that first part again?
Like co-regulate with them or get them to be in a place where they can focus on their homework and
Focus
not
on the task.
be getting the dog and going to the bathroom. And then once they're sitting there, completely zoned out, looking at the window.
Yeah. I get that a lot with a lot of my students that come and see me, where their parents are like, oh, we need executive functioning help. And I'm like, we're not there yet. Like, we've got some other skills to develop. So that's going to be like the practice of that recognizing first. Like, you're not even in the co-regulation space yet because they're like this. So like no executive functioning skills, planning, starting homework, initiating a task, following through on the task, completing the task are going to work right now, no matter what visual supports you use. So a lot of that is going to be like doing the prevention, which is, and the noticing, hey, I'm noticing that this is happening, and working through some of that, like why. I always tell parents, like, kids want to learn. If they're not engaging with learning, there's a reason behind that, and behavior is communication. So even if it's withdrawing, that's a behavior. So what is causing that piece before we even get into, okay, now let's think about doing this worksheet. Like, what's the point of that, you know? So I think it's probably trying to do something that we're not at the space. We don't have the capacity or space for it yet. We need to focus first on the social emotional of what's going on. What am I feeling in my body? Like what's going on that I'm thinking about? What's distracting me? What's those types of things before we even get into, okay, let's set a timer. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, it's hard when, you're in 5th grade and
Yes.
the math homework has to
And
get
you
done.
have homework done,
And
yeah.
the right long has to get done. Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard. But again, like, natural consequences too a little bit. Like, okay, it's not my job to do my kids' homework. So if they don't get it done, what happens at school the next day, right? Like, okay, you didn't get it done. This is the time to do it 5th grade. There's no real repercussions for not getting the credit for a class or whatever. They'll be fine. So this is the time to let them go through that and fail if they need to, so that you can work through the why. Why aren't we engaging? Why aren't we able to start, even if I've given you all of these tools? What's dysregulating me? Yeah.
Hi there.
Hello.
Quick question. Is there a balance between what you were calling for your recognition stage and a child almost self-sabotaging that a little bit to the extent where they then get stuck and kind of can't move past that? I'm trying to figure out with my children sort of how to honor what they're bringing up, but also the second I play into it even a tiny bit, it becomes much bigger than I think, not even what I think, it becomes bigger than them. So where do you strike that balance of, allowing them to obviously articulate? You want them to do that, and you want to, as a parent, reflect that in some way. But then how do you sort of maybe teach the coping mechanism to then be able to work through that?
Yeah, I'll say first, like, knowing your own child is really important, like knowing what's going to happen if we don't do that, right? So like, yeah, you might have a child where it's like, I need to move on from this. And if you try to do that, they are going to up the ante, right? Like, they're going to continue to escalate and escalate. So yeah, you can implement like quick coping things. So like, sometimes if I have students coming to me after school that are very clearly not in a space to dive in to homework or executive functioning, whatever, I might do a quick like, hey, I'm noticing this, like, what are you feeling right now? Are you feeling overwhelmed or are you feeling blank? So there is some language around that, especially as they get older, like learning to identify those things and what that feels like in their body. Hey, I'm feeling really anxious. Okay, what's that feel like in your stomach right now? Like, are you feeling a pit? Are you feeling tense muscles? All right, how can we let that go? What's something really quick we can do right now to let that go? We might walk around the building. Like, I might take them out. I might say, do a handstand, something just to get it. Let's get that out of your body. And okay, now that we've done that skill, let's see if we can move to do this now. So sometimes there is just we can move on, and yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable for a second, but we can reflect on that was a hard thing to do, and you were resilient. You were able to move past it. You felt really uncomfortable, and you tried this thing, and you were able to do the thing. That's awesome, So some of it is like you are toying with the balance a little bit of like moving on from what we're feeling, because at the end of the day, like that's kind of what we all have to do. Like, we might feel dysregulated at work, and I might have to go to the bathroom and splash my face with water, but at the end of the day, I got to get back in the office and do my job. So yeah, having some of those skills, especially if we're not getting to places of huge meltdowns, like that's a different beast, a different thing. But some of those things that are maybe a little bit more, less explosive, I'll say, might be, yeah, like we have to move on. It's time to move on. So recognizing it, accepting it, validating that that's a feeling and that we're experiencing it. But sometimes we can also let that go or come back to it later if we need to, talk it out. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have an 11-year-old grandchild who's very, very bright. I'm going to call him brilliant, and also a good athlete, and generally very calm. He carries with him at all times a plastic fork. And the plastic fork will change from time to time, but it's his plastic fork. At school, he's recognized with it. He's class president, actually. So nobody seems to hold it against him, but he always has his fork. Am I now realizing, as a result of what you've told me, that he is a self-regulating kid who's figured out that fork is his self-regulating object? They're really brilliant.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. Who cares? It's a fork. Like, let him have it. That's one of those battles I would never pick. Like, that's great. You can carry the fork down the aisle. Like,
They're plastic forks in our car.
Yeah. You'll never be without food because you can eat it. Yeah, he's like hungry.
Hi, I came in a little after you got started, so I apologize if you already kind of went over this in the beginning, but I just wanted to know if you could possibly like break down a little bit how to introduce the brain hand signal example you were using.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously it depends on like the age of the child that you're working with, on like how in depth you're going to go. But essentially, so you hold your hand up like this, and you ask them to fold their thumb across and then make a fist over it. And then you can explain, and there's like YouTube videos on this, like it's everywhere. Dan Siegel wrote a book on it. But basically you can introduce that this represents the whole brain. And when we go into a stress response, so this is our emotional brain and this is our thinking brain. The fingers are thinking and the thumb is emotions. And when we experience stress, we have a natural stress response, and our body signals we're in danger. Danger, danger, danger. I need to protect myself. When that happens, this part of our brain, our thinking brain, flips up. And so we're no longer thinking with our thinking brain, we're thinking with our emotional brain. And so that's where we see the flight, fight, freeze, fawn responses come in, is when our lid is flipped and we're only thinking with our emotional brain. So I might scale that up for an older kid. I might scale it down for a younger kid of just, hey, but common language, my lid's flipped. I'm acting out of emotion and not logic and reasoning. So those are flipped back to thinking.
You said it's called Eagle, what? was it?
Dan Siegel.
Dance
yeah.
Eagle.
Yep. He's written many a book. He's awesome. And yeah, I think he literally does a YouTube video where he like walks through it as well. So
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
He has that video on his website.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Yeah. So if you want a reminder, just Google Dan Siegel and hand, brain, or yeah, and
The hand model. If
yeah,
you just type in the
he
hand
goes
model.
through the whole.
yeah.
He goes through the whole thing. It's great.
Yeah.
I think we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank you, Charlie, for coming.
Yeah.
I want to thank everyone for coming to this this event. I'm so glad it was so helpful for so many people. Again, SPED NET was started a long time ago and is run completely by parent volunteers. It's a really special, unique organization. We have a fabulous website with a ton of information and videos on past presentations. So I would ask you to check it out. And thank you again for coming.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me, you guys. Appreciate it.